We're changing a couple things today. Thank you for your flexibility. Ignite is really all about flexibility. Some of you came here to listen to Abby Farber. She had a surgery that she thought she'd be ready to be up and about, and she's not. And she asked that I still show it. So I'm going to wing it for Abby in just a minute. With her notes. We're going to also move the Linus Pauling story, which I can't wait. We're going to move that one to the end, okay? Otherwise, everything else will be as it's listed. But I want you to know, first off, that in the we have done, this will be our 9th Ignite, and we have had more than 37 presenters. There's at least one Ignite we've lost track of. That's why it's the plus. And we started in 2018, where you can see I pulled my daughter in to do one because we were short a person. Thank you, Emily. And you can kind of see some of the various topics we've had, which is fun. We like to think they're just really an introduction to a topic. And raise your hand if you've done one before. They're hard. They're way harder than you think they are for that 15 seconds. That's what we're talking about. Auto advancing 20 slides for a total of 5 minutes. I'll show you a couple more of the titles we've had. You'll see some names up there that are here in the room. We have not yet repeated one until today. If you see David Hedges listed there. This was our last one, last spring. And as I alluded to, these were either virtual during the pandemic or they've been at the Ale House. So again, a huge shout out to the Robinwood station for letting us, those are old. Wait. Whoops, let's let go of that. That was last year. Okay, so with that, your job is to be flexible. And sometimes it happens that someone forgets it's going on, and they're talking, and that's okay too. I once had someone have a little white handkerchief, but they forgot to show it when somebody went on too long. And so I'm going to just take a minute here. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, let's get Abby's going.
Are you doing the timing?
What timing?
Are you doing the timing?
It's already in there.
Okay.
Once I push the button, it's on. So at the moment, and so for the rest of you, I will get you started when you're already up here at the mic, and I will have introduced you, okay? Okay, but for this one, Abby really wanted you all to see this. She wants to do it next year, but she's going to do a different, she's going to put something different together. She said this was really hard. And there's a lot of text on here, so I'm going to do my best. And okay, let's get going. I bet you didn't know this about West Linn. Some interesting facts. Phew. Okay, do that
I forgot the date.
Okay, so who's here before us? Well, certainly the indigenous people of the West Linn area are primarily the Willamette, sometimes the Willamette, band of the Kalapuya. Where was I? Oh no, wait. Okay, the meteorite. See, this is really hard. Y'all know about the meteorite. Lots of great information about the meteorite. And then, of course, there's Robert Moore and Robin's Nest. Robert Moore was an 1812 war veteran who lived here in 1840. Lots to learn about Robert Moore and many achievements that he had. What are we drinking now? Well, Russ could tell you a lot about the water we get now from the South Fork of the Clackamas River, but I'm certainly glad we didn't have to deal with the 1913 typhoid when they were taking it out of the Willamette River. I never knew about this, dancing on a barge. Magones, did I say that right? Magones Park. And I love the fact that it was a popular dancing spot. Okay. And you could get there by the Willamette Falls Railway that ran through West Linn, as many of you know, to Lake Oswego until 1933. the line had been extended to add a stop at McGowan's Park. Have you ever written about that one, Roger? Oh, sorry, can't ask. The big floods. So it wasn't enough that we had a massive fire, but the Great Flood of 1862 washed away a lot of West Linn. What's the deal? How did we get West Linn? Well, that's another story, right? Before we the city in 1913, they settled on West Linn. I never knew about the steamer Senator that exploded in 1875 in Portland, but there is, did you talk about this? The memorial? Okay, there is a memorial. Certainly you know about the T.W. Sullivan hydroelectric plant that opened in 1889 and is still generating electricity today. And it was mentioned in a radio show last year, if you had the opportunity to go to that. Yes, weddings on the bridge. Did anyone go to the reenactment of the weddings a few years ago? That was pretty cool. Okay. It was built in 1922, by the way. I can tell you about baseball because I broke my foot at the Old Time Fair one year playing the Old Time baseball game. But like West Linn fielded a baseball team in the 1900s, and here's a photo of the Bolton team, which is cool. Are we not done yet? Boy, oh, I love this one. There's a lot of horsey and racetrack names up in the Springs area, and I know Abby really wanted to try to figure out where they all came from, and she's still trying to figure that one out. So that may be next year's. The hotel, which I know about because it was built to house strikebreakers by the Crown Willamette Paper Company, the West Linn Paper Company at that time. This is really interesting if you want to see who owned your original land donation claim after the indigenous people. And you can look that up apparently. There's a lot of other things Abby wanted to know. She kind of really went to town on this.
Yes, she did.
And so, this I think is our last slide. So thank you, Abby.
Thanks, Abby.
And she thanks a lot of sources for that. So I'll just say what I hope that taught you is that Ignite is really about bringing a couple new ideas to somebody, and then maybe they're going to remember a couple of them and learn more. So there you have it. Okay, that's the end of that one.
Shorter.
David Hedges, can I invite you up, please?
Question about the Ignite format?
Dee, do you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry, and by the way, yes, after each presenter, we'll take a couple comments, and then at the end, we can take more questions, but yes.
I'm just curious about the Ignite format. Is there anything special about the 20 slides and the 15 seconds each? Or could you take a couple of slides and spread it out over a longer period of time? It seems like that would make a lot more sense.
You can do whatever you wanted. This comes from the high-tech community that has asked if you're going to use their name, Ignite, that you follow their format. And I gave you a very bad introduction because I hadn't really prepared. But we could do whatever we want if there was interest in that. I think the idea when we brought it here was to get some different people involved and really just a cursory. Let's see how David does it. Oh, I have to introduce you. I didn't. Your bio's so short. David Hedges is a West Linn poet and author whose ancestors came to Oregon in the mid-1800s. He just had a new book come out called
Capillary Action, Verse in a Light Vein.
Very Light Verse. Okay. So Peter, if I need help, I know you can show me.
Sure.
Yeah, that one. No,
This
it's
one?
good, yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, we put down, yeah.
I'm gonna ask you.
Well, no, it's, you were doing it right.
Okay. Thank
Wait,
you.
wait, wait, wait.
I would like Oh, is this okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, David, we're
Oh.
gonna start you.
Are we on?
Close to the mic.
Say that.
You're on.
Oh, no. The golden age of steam for the three towns of the Falls, Keneva, Oregon City, and Linn City, actually started downriver in Milwaukee on Christmas Day 1850 with the festive launch of the first steamboat built on the Willamette, the Loch Whitcomb. A cannon from a schooner merchantman was fired. It blew up, killing the captain, but the celebration went on. Whitcomb's first challenge was navigating the Clackamas Rapids at its maiden run to Oregon City, and I got to slow down here. The editor of the Oregon Spectator asked poet Elizabeth Markham to hail the arrival with a poem, but the 160-foot center wheeler was stuck on, the Clackamas Rapids, and the paper's deadline was fast approaching. She beat the deadline while the boat was still stuck. Loch Whitcomb is coming, her banners are flying, she walks up the rapids with speed. She plows through the water, her steps never falter. Oh, that's independence indeed. That's poetic license. All traffic stopped at the falls. Passengers and freight destined for the Willamette Valley were taken off boats in Oregon City and transported by wagon up a steep 140-foot high rock-littered split in the cliff and down to the harbor at Kenema. My great-great-uncle Absalom Hedges, pioneer of 1844, saw the economic potential of the harbor and staked his donation land claim there. He platted Kenema in 1849 and soon gathered investors in a proposed steamboat. He filled a satchel full of beaver money and sailed to New York to get money to buy steam engines, and they had to melt the coins down because they weren't legal tender. In May 1851, the Hoosier became the first steamer above the falls, soon followed by the Washington and the Multnomah. And Kenema was launched in September 1851. And it was a 135-foot side wheeler, and then behind here, and it was the first traveling post office in this territory. And that sketch was the only known image of that ship. And the portage road was built in 1850, blasted from the cliff, and okay, I'm going to skip ahead here. The Willamette was built by Absalom and his brother Joseph, who was my great-grandfather, in 1851, in 1852, and Absalom and Joseph built nine other steamboats. In March 1854, the Falls Company of Linn City launched the Gazelle, but a month later, tragedy struck, and it crossed. The engineer had tied the valves down to get it built a head of steam, and at 24 people were killed. Joseph, on a happier note, 1854 also saw the marriage of Joseph Hedges and Ellen Allen, a daughter of the late William Allen of Linn City, who saved 700 lives during a cholera outbreak in the wagon train of 1850. Oh, here we saw Joseph and Ellen at their house, and Joseph built the house, and then they tore it down when Highway 99 bulldozed its way through Kenema. And the flood of 1861 swept Kenema over the falls, and you heard about that earlier. Absalom lost his fortune, but in the 1870s, 3 steamboats were built at Kenema, and they were the last of 31 plus over the years. And this is the 150-foot Alice, one of the largest to navigate. The Willamette Falls locks opened on New Year's Day, 1873, eliminating the need to portage around the falls. The Maria Wilkins, loaded with bigwigs, was the first boat through the locks. And a great story there told by Larry McIntyre. Thus ended the golden age of steam at Willamette Falls. Linn City, Oregon City, and Kenema became way stations, no longer the hub of commerce. blame my great-grandfather Joseph, who supervised construction of the locks. West Linn and Oregon City prospered with their mills, but Kanema became a sleepy little bedroom community home to retired merchants and riverboat captains, and in 1929, with no fanfare, was absorbed into Oregon City.
Nice, I mean, that's a lot of information in that. Is there one short answered question someone would like to ask while David's on the stage? Or a comment?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Both of you, go ahead.
Go for it.
I wondered, the man who saved 600 people in the outbreak, was he a doctor?
He was a doctor, and no one knows what he did differently, but people were dying right and left on other wagon trains, and nobody who came to him in time, you know, I mean, you couldn't wait until the very end and expect anything, but, and the only thing I could figure out is hydration.
Oh.
And it wasn't, I mean, he had medications and all that, but that would be a simple, it's something that happened with cholera victims. So, however he did it, and it was family lore, but I had to confirm it, and I found it in a medical history of Oregon, and yes, he did.
Oh, wow, that's wild. And there was one more.
Well, we have a lot of steam vessels going back and forth along the Linn and all that. Primarily pedestrian based, or we have an industry as well?
Well, I'm sorry.
The steam vessels that are going back and forth, are they primarily just moving people, or are we looking at some of the industry?
Oh, no, it was everything that was shipped into the valley had to get unloaded in Oregon City and hauled over the bluff and put back on another ship above the river. So we had two fleets. We had the ships coming in to Oregon City and the ships going up and down the Willamette above there. And no, they were, that was Kanema at one time was as big as Oregon City and was, had all the same things, the saloons, the hotels, and all that. And as I mentioned, when locks were built, ironically by my great-grandmother, all of a sudden the towns had no significance to transportation anyway. So.
I know, it's hard. We'll change the format. Okay, thank you, David. Our next speaker is Randall Bastabend on eventful Robinwood. A look at what has been occurring under our very noses at the Robinwood station for the past 16 years. And by the way, each person submitted their own bios. I did not write this. Randall Bastabend is a grumpy, retired, short white guy with over 30 years of experience in science museums and theaters. For the past 16 years, he has volunteered as the manager of the Robinwood station. Fortunately for all of us, he does not do this alone. Please welcome Randall.
Thank you. What I want to focus on is what's been going on here. So, for instance, this place was built in '64, and it was in effect the city hall for unincorporated Robinwood. So when they wanted to have a meeting, they would just open those doors, which were a lot bigger back then. They were 12 foot wide. We have 8 foot wide ones here now. They would open up those doors.
Okay, you're going.
Good. Put the engines out on the pad, close the doors, and they'd have their meetings here. And it was done, this was a fire station and meeting room is what it was permitted for. And here's one of their meetings, you might notice. This was a party that took place near Christmas time, and you can still see the CMU walls were not painted or plastered. They are, of course, nowadays, they are covered with sheer panels. This is Jack and Keith during one of our cleanups, and that is the 12 foot wide doors that I was talking about earlier. So in 2010, a group of volunteers started making this place into a community center. And this is some of the events that we did at that time, early on, were a lot of garage sales. We took 10% of all the garage sales. Sometimes we get $27, and sometimes we get $1,500. One of our partners for a few years was a group called Tools for Troops that gathered tools and gave them away to veterans. They did about a dozen tool giveaways right here. I think I was just going to be quiet on this one, because I didn't really know what's going on. Tony could probably give us more information.
Rocktoberfest! Everybody's invited every October!
There you go.
Come celebrate!
We also did styrofoam. We did a lot of styrofoam collections here, probably about 20 of them. And that was when Agilix over in Tigard was around, and they would take all the styrofoam we'd collect. And we would collect and get styrofoam. Usually we now have about 1 or 2 weddings a year, and about 3, sometimes 4 celebrations of life. Kind of curious that we have more deaths than weddings, but I won't get into that right now. During COVID, remember COVID? This is a COVID meeting. The Robinwood Neighborhood Association has been meeting here ever since 2010, every second Tuesday of the month. And we don't charge them for anything because this is a city building and it's a city function. Sometimes you can have as many people as you want here at the Robinwood Station. All you have to do is open those doors if you get more than 83 people. And this is an example of one of those meetings. We were renovated in 22, 23, and one of the first events that we had was Ben Foster, who lives across the street, had his birthday party here, and some of his friends brought their cars to his birthday party. In 2024, we got an influx of new board members and some kick-ass board members, young board members who come in with lots of good ideas, new energy. And this is the open mic night that's on Saturday, the third Saturday here. Third Saturday of the month is open mic night. And then we have an anchor, we call them an anchor tenant. This is an organization called WAG, Where Ability Grows. And they cook dog treats in our kitchen. They sell every bit of the dog treats that they make. And we can't do it alone. We had scouts and youth groups only paid $10 to use the whole space. And we value the youth and getting away from their computers and getting out of their house and doing stuff, so we make it available to them. And we also have a partner since 2012, the Robinwood Community Garden, and here they're erecting their new greenhouse. Here's the snooze-a-rooney, you might say right here. Right here. 2025 or 2024, that many hours, and 2023, 2,500 hours. We do about over 8 hours worth of every day of programming here at the Robinwood Station. And one of our aspirations, now that we're so busy, is to get an emergency generator. Also, there's a building behind us called the utility building. It's the oldest building on the property. It was built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's got like 3 different buildings cobbled together. There it is right there. And the garden uses the left-hand side. The rest of it is not really in service or in use. And we would like, our aspiration is to get a hold of it, fix it up, and use it for storage and for emergency purposes here in Robinwood. If you look on a map, the Robinwood Station is the only city property that's in the northern part of West Linn. We're well situated to be an emergency center. And as you know, sometimes it gets a little snowy. There you go. Questions or reason never to do this again?
Okay, but first, raise your hand if you learned something new about Robinwood Station. I mean, that was great. Thank you. Okay, one question, comment, something, anything? Add on?
Oh, good.
Thank you, good job.
Okay. How do you pronounce your last name?
Signer, as in there's nothing finer than a sign.
Okay. Thank you, Randall. I'm really excited to introduce Catherine Signer with her talk, Flirting by Fruit Box, dating from a 20th century Oswego farm. Catherine, if you didn't know it, is the director of the Oswego Heritage Council in Lake Oswego and has been involved in museum work for over a decade. With a master's degree in history, Catherine is most interested in helping people understand today's world through the lens of the past and using that knowledge to propel us to a better, more equitable future. And as I start to get your slideshow up, if you want to do a little something about the Oswego Heritage, go for it. Because I think a lot of people may not know that.
Yes, yeah. Well, we run the Heritage House in Lake Oswego, and we just renovated our museum space. We have a big timeline of Lake Oswego history from 15,000 years ago to today, filled with all sorts of tidbits. You can meet people who lived in different eras, one of which we'll talk about tonight. So it's a very cool place. I'm very biased, but it's very fun. So definitely stop by and check it out. And we're actually now open on Saturdays, so that's kind of big for us.
That's great. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
So as I said, I'm Catherine Signer. I'm the executive director at the Oswego Heritage Council. We're all about local history. So today we're going to talk about a nationwide trend in 1904 and 1905 through the lens of a girl who lived in Oswego, specifically Lucy Pollard, pictured there on the left. The Pollards immigrated from Belgium in 1880, settled in Oswego. Peter there in the center took a job at the iron furnace, but he fell 40 feet from the top, got horribly hurt. His wife said, "You're not going back, we're buying a farm." So they purchased this farm, which is right across the street from the Oswego Pioneer Cemetery, and they grew a lot of produce there, strawberries, fruits. They would sell them in town. Lucy would tell a story about selling them door to door with her brother, and then coming back, and they were missing several dollars, and their mom said, "Where's the rest of the dime?" And they said, "Well, we got hungry on the way, and we kind of ate all the strawberries, Mom." That's from in their own words. Now, there were several Belgian families in Oswego at this time, but Oswego itself was a pretty small community. So I want you to imagine that you're Lucy, you're in this small town, you're ready to start dating. You don't want to date anyone in your tiny town. There's only about 600 people in Oswego then. So what do? Oswego at this time, as I said, super tiny. The lake itself had been grown a little bit, but it was still mostly being used for industrial purposes. The main street, Highway 43, had like a couple of shops on it by Lake Oswego. They had just gotten in some railroad infrastructure. Electricity still going up. It was all brand new there. So this is State Street there. So there was something you could do though if you were desperate to meet somebody from outside of your small town. And this is the trend. So farm workers, a lot that were young women, would stuff letters into these fruit boxes. So when they got sold from and like transported outside of town, people who purchased them would pull out these letters and hopefully write back. So Lucy and two of her friends, Rebecca and Maggie, did this when they were about 15. They shoved all these letters into these boxes. And Lucy actually got 3 replies, which are in our collection. So the first one is from Fort Stevens, Oregon in 1904 by George Schwartz, who was born in Indiana. And he wrote, "I will take the pleasure to tell you that I found a box of strawberries with your name, also Miss Maggie and Rebecca," spelled incorrectly. "I am a soldier at this post and would like to make all of you girls acquaintance. Please write to me as soon as possible. You will find me a jolly old fellow." So he takes his shot with all of them. The next letter was from the USS Chinook, which had stopped in Astoria in 1904. It was by Jack Rainier, and his reads, "Having cast my eyes on your name in a little strawberry box, I have taken the liberty of writing to you. Well, sweetheart, if it is fate that I should be the one to get the little box, I will do all I can to win your love. Precious, I am more than lonely on this big white elephant, and if I thought there was someone to love me, I would be more than happy. Darling, write to me soon. Your new friend, lover, Jack Rainier." He comes on a little strong. single, unmarried, and do not support anyone, for it takes all I can make to support myself. I am 5'7" and 3/4 inches when I am waiting for dinner. Most people think at first sight that I wear a false face, but I don't. It was a birthday present, and I don't think people should make such remarks. My proboscis is properly located in the middle of my face and contains no warts. One of my eyes is just the color of tobacco juice, and the other one is just like it. I will tell you how much I weigh when blackberries get ripe. I always get fat when blackberries get ripe. Now, Lucy's friend Rebecca ended up dying the same year that these were written, unmarried. Her other friend, several years later, ended up in a institution for unmarried pregnant girls. Who knows if it was from one of these relationships? We don't know. Lucy herself would get courted by a man named Ed Gonti with this very flowery purple ink. He was a taxidermist in Portland. They got married. It was a pretty short marriage. She moved to Portland. He was a real mama's boy. She moved back, and then she lived the rest of her life in Oswego. But if you think that this kind of trend couldn't happen today, I mean, you just have to go on Instagram. People slide through your DMs all the time. So it's still going on, just a different format. So with all of that, you can learn more about Lucy and read the full love letters at the Heritage House.
The predecessor to Match.com.
Yes, literally, yeah. Yeah, there are cases of strawberry box romances all over the country.
Anything else? We can take one more if someone wants to ask, or
Where are you located?
in Lake Oswego, so we're on the right down the main A Avenue, right on the corner. It's a white house. It says Heritage Museum.
It's
It's a pretty cool one.
yeah, awesome. But I have to.
How's the sound?
A little high.
Too much?
I didn't do it.
Hello? How's that?
Okay, Kevin also wrote his bio. As you can tell, he's going to be talking about Cedar Island. And I need to use the mic. Kevin Bragg is a retired white guy, slightly taller than Randall Festival, but much grumpier. He has 50 years of experience in industrial and interior design, fabrication, and construction. For the past 16 years, he has volunteered as a development director for the Robinwood Station Community Center. Unfortunately, from his perspective, he has help from others in this endeavor.
I want to start out this evening by saying none of what I'm about to say has been verified in any sort of academic or journalistic standard. All of this is rumor, innuendo, and neighborhood lore. In that vein, I believe this is the very first rock, the seed that began the formation of Cedar Island. So you can pass this around. Special little focus.
Okay, Kevin, we're starting.
We're starting. Okay. Cedar Island is a 14-acre horseshoe-shaped island along the west shore of the Willamette River located in the city of West Linn at River Mile 23. The sedimentary island is composed of cobbles, sand, and mud, and vegetated with cottonwood, ash, willow, and too many blackberries. The island was likely formed by...
Wait, I'm so sorry.
That's the end.
That was the end. Let's try this again.
Okay. I'm not saying that.
You don't have to.
We'll just wait to get to the...
I like that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, good pick.
My arms got really tired flying that. Are we running? Okay. The island was likely formed by the outwash from the Clackamas River. The salt dikes jutting from the west bank of Marias Young Park direct the main current toward the east bank and slow the flow enough to deposit island sediment. Local streams and landslides have also added material. Cedar Island was initially much larger, extending 3/4 of a mile along the river.
The area was barely an island at all, but bore a low-lying extension of the riverbank, seasonally separated by a narrow channel. The area once rose 25 feet above the river, high enough to support a grove of Douglas fir trees, which do not like wet feet. Along the shore was Dr. Nixon's pear orchard and horse farm, accessed by a trail down present-day Mapleton Avenue. The farm and the orchard were occupied by a caretaker living in a two-story house with a barn. There's a story that Steamboat Drive to the north is an homage to the vessels arriving from Portland in the early 1920s, disembarking passengers to dance at a pavilion on the island when the city of Portland tried to ban roadhouses and dens of iniquity known for jazz music and illegal alcoholic beverages. The island and central lagoons support aquatic life, including salmon fry, insects, and birds. Beavers and nutria burrow homes in the bank, river otters visit, and an occasional pack of coyotes are heard on the hunt. Today's Cedar Island was reshaped by a mining operation by Willamette Sand and Gravel, later renamed Rydell International, dredging 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, from the 1960s to 1978, removing most of the island and barging diggings to their yard on Bond Street in Portland to be unloaded, graded, and distributed. Development of riverside lots on Nixon Avenue was restricted, and only 2 homes were built in the 1950s by the Hill and Smith families before the mining operation began. Prior to the end of gravel mining in 1978, the channel between the island and the West Bank was widened to allow private docks and boating access for the adjacent Nixon Avenue property owners, perhaps compensation for the deed restriction preventing home building on riverside lots during mining operations. A shallow stretch was left at the entrance of the channel due to one property owner's concerns about powerboats racing through the channel. This shallow leads to stagnant water in the summer and may contribute to more sedimentation in the channel. Homeowners on the channel have discussed private dredging but are stymied by complicated and expensive permitting process. There's a large rectangular pond south of the channel dredged at the end of operations, allegedly part of a scheme by adjacent lot owners to extend river access to their lots. Dredge operators were caught by state inspectors leaving the frog pond in place of the desired channel to the river. In addition to recreation uses, the lagoon has been used for parking commercial tugs, barges, and rafts of logs recovered from the river. Around 1975, Clackamas County turned over an unimproved public boat launch to West Linn. In 1980, the city of West Linn purchased the island remnants from the bankrupt Rydell International, and with grants from the State Marine Board, improved the Cedar Oak boat ramp and parking facility. The city also secured grants for island habitat restoration with native plants. In 1985, Boy Scouts built 4 fishing platforms in the lagoon and sunk bundles of holiday trees to provide fish habitat. Now, Cedar Island is operated by the city of West Linn as a recreational park along with the Cedar Oak boat ramp. Access is via boat or from the Mary S. Young Park via a seasonal bridge. As with Ross and Hardtack Island Complex 9 miles south in Portland, the excavators removed far more material than permitted, leaving the island elevation so low that floods completely submerged the island with only the tallest vegetation remaining above water. These erosive beds are filling the channel behind the island and central lagoon with fine silt, making the area less suitable for salmon, fry, and other aquatic creatures. A sandbar continues to grow along the entrance of the lagoon, inhibiting boat access. By the 1990s, erosion silted in the ramp area so boats could not launch and retrieve during low tides, marooning operators. Dredging the area under and around the docks and ramps in the 1990s led to sinking of the ramps, requiring repairs. So in 2017, a new ramp and dock complex were created, extending much further into the river and allowing year-round and low-tide operations. The city of West Linn does not budget to maintain the island and natural areas beyond the boat ramp. The area is overrun with invasive weeds, including blackberries. Sporadic efforts by volunteers cannot keep up. Local concerns about fire and fireworks, camping, and loud parties on the island are largely ignored, with the city officials asserting that patrolling the island is a Clackamas County Marine Sheriff responsibility. It is likely that without future dredging over the long term, the channel will eventually silt in, reconnecting the island with the riverbank, while the Cedar Island Lagoon may shrink to become a seasonal wetland.
So much for eye contact.
Hey, first of all, you put a lot of work into the slides, and I know all of the rest of you did too. If you didn't notice, and I didn't say already, this is being filmed and it will go on the YouTube station in case you want to go back, because it was so fast and there were some facts in there. Questions, comments? Something.
Can you put a kayak in? Is there a boat rafting right there?
Yes, Well, I generally put my kayak in just using the regular boat ramp. They tried to make kind of a little gravel trail down for kayaks. There is a rack there for kayaks, to lock, to put your kayak and leave it there and lock it up if you wish. But right now, it's currently not being used.
That's where I put my boat.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. Yeah. Anything else?
What's the rock that's being passed around? I don't.
What?
What's the rock that's being passed around?
Oh, the
Don't
geology guy.
No. But before we get on to our next one, how many of you would like to do this next time? Right? Yeah, come on, put the hands up, because we're gonna take a picture. No, but in all seriousness, we kind of tend to do this once a year now, so we'll be targeting next spring. And they really are fun, but kind of what I like to tell people is we really have about up to 2 sentences per slide. And that's kind of how to think about it. Okay. Okay, but I get to introduce you. Okay. So first of all, I always like to give a huge enthusiastic welcome for the person we recruit to represent our younger audience. Let me read you Augustus's bio. Where did you go? Oh, there we go, sorry. Linus Pauling, from chemistry to peace to controversy. Augustus Day graduated with honors from West Linn High School in 2025 and is currently taking a gap year to travel and pursue his interests before attending university. He's passionate about history, politics, and social justice. And I need to say, for those of you that knew my mother, Patty, my mother's sister, Marjorie, was Augie's grandmother. So I very much appreciate him being here today. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna start it.
Alright, Linus Pauling was born in 1901 and grew up in Oregon. I'll try my best to go over his life thoroughly with my 5 minutes because it covers a lot of ground. Pauling was born in Portland and grew up in Oswego. His family moved east to Conan in 1905, returning after his father Herman died of a perforated ulcer in 1910. Linus was 9 at the time. At 13, friend Lloyd Jeffries' chemistry experiment sparked his lifelong passion for the subject. At 16, and without ever formally graduating high school, Pauling entered Oregon Agricultural College, today's OSU. In 1917, studying chemical engineering, while teaching a chemistry course for home ec majors. In January 1922, he met his future wife, Ava Helen Miller. They married in Salem in 1923. That fall of 1922, Pauling left Oregon for the California Institute of Technology, working under Roscoe Dickinson. He learned X-ray crystallography, mapping crystals atom by atom. He earned his PhD, summa cum laude, in 1925 at 24 years old, with minors in physics and mathematics. In 1926, Pauling won a Guggenheim Fellowship to study the new quantum mechanics in Europe. He and Ava Helen sailed for Munich, where they joined Arnold Sommerfield's Institute for Theoretical Physics, then arguably the world's leading center for atomic theory. Pauling encountered the architects of the new physics, Sommerfeld in Munich, Niels Bohr in Copenhagen, and attended Erwin Schrödinger's seminars in Zurich. He returned home convinced quantum theory could illuminate chemistry's deepest mysteries. Beginning in 1928 and culminating in a celebrated 7-paper series from 1931 to 1933, Pauling translated quantum mechanics into chemistry. His theory of resonance and orbital hybridization explained how electrons share, blend, and stabilize the bonds that hold every molecule together. Promoted to a full professor in 1931, at age 30, Pauling became a legendary teacher using chalk models and theatrical analogies in his lectures. That same year, the American Chemical Society named him the recipient of its very first Langmuir Prize in Pure Chemistry. Also in 1931, Pauling showed mathematically how 1s and 3p orbitals on carbon blended to 4 equivalent sp3 hybrids, 109.5-degree bond angles of methane, and the entire architecture of organic chemistry suddenly possessed a quantum foundation. In 1939, Cornell University Press published its masterwork, The Nature of the Chemical Bond, synthesizing a decade of research. It became the most influential chemistry book of the 20th century, reshaping how every working chemist visualized molecules. After World War II, Pauling grew increasingly alarmed by nuclear weapons and American foreign policy. Ava Helen was a significant influence to this. He signed petitions, gave public lectures, and associated with organizations that the U.S. government viewed with suspicion. His politics made him a target. The FBI opened a file on Pauling that eventually ran to thousands of pages. He was called before the congressional committees and required to produce correspondence and documents. His passport was revoked, a move that directly obstructed his scientific work and his ability to attend international conferences. In 1952, Pauling published a triple helix model for DNA that was fundamentally wrong. His competitors, Watson and Crick, working with Rose Linn Franklin, of course, recognized the errors and pressed on to the correct structure the following year. It was a rare instance of Pauling advancing a model before the evidence was sufficient to support it. The State Department, citing his politics, had denied Pauling's passport in early 1952, granting only a restricted one for that summer. Yet, in 1954, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry honored him for his research into the nature of the chemical bond and the structures of complex substances. Pauling collected signatures from thousands of scientists worldwide on a petition calling for the end of nuclear testing. He presented it to the United Nations in 1958. His book, No More War, laid out the case in plain terms. He was one of the most prominent scientific voices in the disarmament movement. Pauling was given the 1962 Nobel Peace Prize. The very day that the partial test ban treaty took effect, the Norwegian committee explicitly credited Pauling's petition. He became and remains the only individual ever awarded 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. Pauling being awarded the prize was met with mixed reactions from the general public. In the 1940s, Pauling had been diagnosed with Bright's disease, a serious kidney condition. His physician, Thomas Addis, had treated him successfully through dietary intervention, and experience left Pauling convinced that targeted nutritional approaches could treat illness. He coined the term orthomolecular medicine from that conviction. Pauling became a prominent advocate for high-dose vitamin C as a treatment for the common cold and later cancer. Controlled trials generally did not support his claims, and his insistence on them damaged his standing considerably. Researchers who regarded him as a standard of scientific rigor found themselves distancing from his later work. Pauling founded the Institute of Orthomolecular Medicine in 1973, later renamed in his honor. Despite mounting criticism, he published prolifically into his 90s and was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 1991, which would ultimately lead to his passing in 1994 at his Big Sur Ranch, age 93. Linus and Ava Helen now rest in Oswego Pioneer Cemetery in Lake Oswego alongside Linus's parents. His papers and institute reside at Oregon State University. He was a scientist, peacemaker, agitator, and Oregonian.
Now there's going to be a test. Yes.
Are you going to be an organic chemistry major?
No, I'm not. I did like AP Chem, but I don't think that that's what I want to pursue.
Yes, another.
Just a quick comment, the Oswego Pioneer Cemetery, we give tours of it, and off Stafford Road, that's where Lucy Pollard lived. So you can go visit Linus Pauling, look across the street and wave to Lucy. She's also very good.
Well done. Okay, well that was pretty cool. I think today's talks were some of our best. Very informative, so thank you all very much. Any comments or last? Oh, do we want to have them all come together? Yes, we do. We would like the speakers to come on the stage, or can we do it here?
Stage. Light.
Stage. Okay, I think Danny wants to get a picture. You can leave that there. Are you just doing a photo or are we doing?
Are you going to do it? Because usually you do open questions at the end.
Yeah.
Are you not going to do that?
Do people have time for a few extra questions? Is that good? Okay. This is what we're going to do. Okay, very good. I'm not going to be part of this.
You put the mic.
I have no idea. Okay, we'll do a picture.
Hold on, let's move this mic.
Well, we're going to need the mic.
Yeah, picture of the picture.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
My first, right?
Okay, come on back. Okay, so I think this is a great opportunity if you had another question or two that you wanted to share with any of our speakers. So go for it. Anybody? I'll repeat the question if you have one. Yes?
This is for anybody. What's that one thing that you really wanted in this but could not fit in?
Ooh, what's one thing you really wanted but you couldn't fit it in? Okay, come to the mic. You got to get this, so you can all speak to this.
Movies instead of static slides.
Oh.
Or and a soundtrack.
lie on a desk, what he called Roman style, where he'd prop his head up. And then also he actually wound up breaking off his relationship with Oppenheimer after Oppenheimer hit on his wife. So there are a lot of kind of peculiar little stories from his life that I'd love to fit in, but just kind of there's so much else in there.
For me, it's the last letter that I shared. He wrote like 2 pages, and it's all so, I find it so charming. If I had gotten that letter, it would have worked on me. And there's so many like little bits that I wish I could have read, but I was like, when I was practicing the slides and realizing how long it was going, I was just like crossing things out. So.
We had a group here that used to come and cover the windows, all the windows with paper. And then they would be here all day. And I was told not to come in. They rented the place, they paid us full amount, and then they would take all the covers off the windows, and then they'd clean the place completely. So it was always cleaner than... So we always like to have them. And we also, we had for several years, we had the Mrs. America pageant for Oregon. They had their practice here.
David, anything you couldn't fit in?
A lot.
Okay. Well, that's great. Another question or comment?
I was just going to make one comment. There was a question earlier about the benefit of the steamboats and the history. And one of the things that really dawned was it gave really the birth of agriculture in the Willamette Valley. It was really, really important to agriculture getting started and moving in the Willamette because there was just no way to move produce. But to get them on ships, they could go out, and they started this. The major industry is because of it.
Well, one thing about steam, it came in 1850, right on the heels of the gold rush in California. And farbers were shipping their wheat and shipping logs. Simon Benson of Benson Hotel and other things created a log boom, a seagoing log boom, and was shipping it down and shipped it down to San Francisco, and there was a mill there, and it provided all the lumber for the new camps that were coming up. I mean, the Willamette Valley fed the gold rush.
Yeah.
Right.
One or two more questions? Anybody or comments? Yes, Tony.
I know you had all those different topics from all those different years. Is there a way to see those so that we don't double up on something? Maybe my question is, has anybody done Boone's Ferry?
Well, first of all, I don't think it would matter if someone doubled up because no one's going to remember. or it's going to be a different take on it. Is another way to say that. And no one's ever done Boone's Ferry. That would be a great one. Say, we're writing you down for that one. Yeah.
Has anyone done the effects of the Missoula floods on West Linn in particular, and how West Linn's hills are so eroded from the riverine deposits?
No, no one has done that. And there was a certain person that I have been trying to twist their arm for quite a long time to do something on geology.
All right.
And he keeps backing out.
Right.
So maybe he'll do that one next time, unless you'd like to do that, Brooke.
Or both.
Or both. You guys could do it together. Other questions, comments? I know you're probably ready to get out into whatever's left of the day.
Yeah,
David wants more. Yeah, go for it.
My great-great-grandfather, Dr. William Allen, saved all those people on the trail, but when he got here, people were everybody who was going to die died on the trail, and so he was hard-pressed to make a living as a doctor, and had to play fiddle at cotillions and things to make ends meet.
That's fair, because my third great-grandfather learned to be a doctor aboard the sailing ship, and he got clients. So. Okay, I think on that note, let's give him one more